Daggone son, camera, can't keep up with me.
Brother, brother, don't you know, it don't matter where you go, bad news has a way to seek you out. You can change the pace, you can run and hide, but that don't change the folks outside. The world just has a bite, it's pretty stout. Righteousness won't fill your cup, your dues, you don't, just won't add up. Sometimes you gotta fake it till you make it. Show them just what you're made of, and all your dreams will stand right up. It's all right there, just ready for the taking.
What's happening, y'all? Welcome to Stiver's Homestead. I'm Zach. My wife Jen is usually with us. You'll see her in a little bit. She's a little busy inside. But I was in the garden today, and we finally got rain last night. My goodness, it's been like 2 months since we've had rain here in our area of Kentucky. And it got me thinking about a hot topic that I see all the time in the garden discussion groups, and it seems like everyone has their own answer about when and how to water your garden if you have to manually do it. What's good, what's bad? Do I do it in the morning? Do I do it in the night? If I do it in the middle of the day, is it gonna burn up my plants? Or is it okay to do it in the middle of the day? And the biggest thing too that I rarely see anyone talk about is hard water versus soft water, which is a big factor in a lot of these things. So today, I wanna explain my opinion, which are quite a few facts in this asset. But like we say on this channel, we'll never tell anybody what they're doing is wrong, but we like to try to give guidance on what works for us. So I'm gonna tell you some information about all those different topics. So we're gonna show you how to correctly water that garden today. So let's get right at it. So the first thing to talk about, when to water. Morning, midday, night. When's the best time if you have to hand water your garden? Which time is the best to do it? The answer is all of them. So there are benefits and pros and cons with doing it at any time, having to hand water, because obviously we would just prefer it to rain all the time when we need it to, exactly on the right amount of days, but that's not possible. So here at our place, we usually water in the early morning or in the evening before the sun comes up or sets. Now, that has nothing to do with our leaves burning up in the middle of the day. That has zero reason for that. The reason we do it in the morning and in the evening is because when the sun's not beaming on your ground, you're gonna have less evaporation. So it allows that water to go into the soil and actually let the plants absorb that water in. So that's the main reason we do it throughout morning or evening before the sun rises or the sun sets. Now, there's days you got to do it in the middle of the day just because you weren't able to do it that morning. Maybe it's too dry and you can't wait till that evening, so you gotta do it when the sun's out. That's perfectly fine to do so. You can do that. Now you're just gonna have more water evaporation throughout that. And so when that water is on that really dry, hard soil, it takes a little more time to fully absorb down into that soil. So that's why people say don't do it during the middle of the day. Just because you're kind of wasting water in a sense, and you think that you're watering your garden good enough, when in all reality, that water's not getting into the plants quick enough. So that's kind of the key. However, if your garden needs it and you've missed a couple waterings, it's better than not doing it at all. Continuing on that same subject, the one big thing that I hear, which there are so many answers on this, if I water in the middle of the day, am I gonna burn my plants up? Is that sun gonna magnify the water droplets and burn up my leaves? That answer is no. It is not. The water does not act as if it's a magnifying glass to burn up your leaves. And then I see a lot of people say, well, my leaves look like this after I do it. Okay, that may be true, but the sun and the water didn't have anything to do with that. What you've got yourself is disease. And it's minor. It could be very minor in that sense. But that brings us into talking about hard versus soft water. So we'll get more in detail into that. But watering in midday will not burn your plants. However, you should never be watering your leaves anyways. You should always be watering at the root base and into the soil. That's another reason that you would be kind of in a consideration wasting water or evaporating if you're trying to water throughout the whole thing. Now, I completely get it. Sometimes you got to throw that sprinkler on because you don't have enough time to sit around and hand water everything. So I get it. But if you are going to do that, I honestly would recommend doing it bright and early in the morning so that water dries up quick. And let's get into that detail on what I mean by that. Whew. It's getting hot out here in Kentucky. I had to find me a shady spot to sit down and be able to talk to y'all about this one. Okay, so we already know, and I went through it quick, so I'm gonna kind of go over it again. When to water: morning, midday, evening. Doesn't matter. You're gonna have more evaporation during the day, and you should always be watering at the base. That's where you're gonna get your most benefit and least waste amount of water, no matter what kind of water you're using, just straight out of the hose, if you're using the rainwater system, whatever it may be. So always water at the base, and you're gonna have no issues there. It's just an evaporation thing. So you're fine to water whenever you want. Now, the biggest thing that I wanted to talk about that it doesn't feel like anyone talks about much is hard water versus soft water. So first thing is, what does that even mean? What is hard water versus soft water? So and this is where people can kind of get back and forth on truly what it is. But hard water is basically anything, I like to say, that's coming out of your faucet, unless you're hooked up to a well or you're hooked up to a rainwater system. If you're on city, county water, whatever it is, you got hard water. So the reason it's called hard water is because it's not just got sodium in it, which is what comes from the rain. It's also gonna have some magnesium and calcium in your water. And so that's some of the stuff that like water companies will check and say what's the levels and the pH levels and different stuff like that, but that's what makes your water hard. So, as you all know, magnesium and calcium are good things for a garden. They can also be bad things. Any good thing and too much, if you have too much of a good thing, it can turn into being a bad thing. So if you are putting straight hard water constantly into your garden and you're doing it a lot, and say you're just in a drought and you're not getting any rainwater, you're pumping a bunch of magnesium and calcium into your soil. And so what can happen with that is if your ground gets too much of it, the plants can't absorb it. And I know that sounds crazy, but if you have too much magnesium and calcium into the soil and it's evaporating too quick, it's just going into the soil and not into your plant. So what that means is your plants are not getting that nutrition they need, and that's when you start seeing blossom end rot and different diseases that come from that. So it's best, if you're able to be able to do that in a controlled way by adding your own magnesium and calcium to really open that up, and so they can start absorbing into those nutrients that they need. But that's why that's technically what hard water is. So soft water is, the easiest way to understand it is it's what's coming from the sky. The rain that comes from the sky has sodium in it, but no other minerals that are in there, like the calcium and magnesium. They catch that when they're going through the filtration system in different lines. You can also soften hard water by filtering it yourself and trying to pull out some of that magnesium and calcium. But that soft water is great for your garden. It's absolutely fantastic. There's nothing that's gonna have any issues with rainwater, as you can imagine. So if you have the option to do rainwater system set up and use that strictly for your garden, that's gonna be your best option. And then you can kind of control that magnesium and calcium levels within your soil as needed. So the biggest misunderstanding with any kind of watering is that I'm gonna burn my plants up if I water them on the leaves. And like I had mentioned before, there's no such thing. That's not gonna happen. They're not gonna burn up. But what happens is, the biggest one I have is, well, what about when it rains? When the sun comes out, it doesn't burn them, but it does when I'm doing it with out of my water hose. That comes back to the hard versus soft water situation. So if you're keeping all that moisture all up in those plants, what's the biggest thing that happens to tomatoes? Blight, right? You know, that's why we prune, that's why we keep the stalks clear of anything and a lot of airflow. Because if it's holding that moisture in those plants and on those leaves, that's how you get blight. So blight looks a lot like a sunburnt plant, if you honestly think about it. The leaves turn yellow, they kind of get a little brownish, they look dried up on the tips. That's, in my opinion, why people think that their plants are being burnt up. The ones that think that that's happening is because they're actually getting disease into their plants by having them too wet, if that honestly makes sense. So if you're watering midday, you're leaf watering, you're using your water hose with that hard water, and you're just spraying it all over your plants, in a sense, you are burning them up. You're offering them, getting them into a situation to where they can get disease easy. And you know, a lot of people, including ourselves on this channel, we like to grow some wild varieties, some things that are not native to our local land. So that's gonna make them immediately a little more disease prone in your area, just because it's not used to your climate. So you're already at kind of a, I don't know, what's the word I'm trying to look for? You're already at not the best odds anyways, trying to grow something that's not used to your climate. But that's okay, we can definitely grow them. It's just when you want to try to take some of the small steps that you can to help keep that disease out. And one of it is, try to use soft water if you can, and make sure you keep your plants dry, but your soil moist. So you can keep some of that humidity and water levels out of there, and not have your plants burn up in a sense, and keep that disease out of there. So that's kind of your basic rundown. So giving you all these facts, all this stuff about watering. When it comes down to it, one of the biggest things that we like to talk about is gardening simple, and it is. So these are things that will not just straight up kill your plants. If you have to throw a sprinkler on and it's midday, you know, it's fine. But you are a little more likely to get a little disease on your plants just due to the moisture and the humidity that you may possibly have. So, if possible, the best way to water your garden, which is what this video is mainly about, is to water in the morning or in the evening. Always do it straight by hand down there at the roots and in the soil, not on the plant, and try to do it with soft water. And then, like I said, that is officially the best way you can water your garden. Now, it's not always possible, so we don't actually have the rainwater system hooked up just yet. We used to have it, had a bad storm and it broke my setup, so I have to get it hooked back up. However, if you can't have the soft water, still do the morning and the evening and try to do it at the roots. And the only reason for the morning and the evening is so you don't have a whole lot of evaporation, and your garden truly is getting the watering it needs. All right, now that we've got the facts and that informative stuff out of the way, we got a garden walk that'll be coming tomorrow, but I did want to show y'all one thing just because it's so exciting. Sorry about that, I went under Mr. Loofah here and it got all dark. Had to have the camera set back up. So on the last garden walk, y'all saw that we finally got our first loofah. And now I just kind of wanted to give y'all a little sneak peek before the garden walk tomorrow on how big these things are. There's one. Look down here. There's two. We've got them everywhere. 3. Went dark again on you, didn't I? Daggone son, camera. Can't keep up with me. So there's 3, there's another one in there, and there's a few more that are kind of just in the mix of all of this, and I don't want to disturb it too much. But I just really wanted to show that to y'all because it's something that I'm so excited about. And you know, we kind of look back at some of our previous garden walks, and you know, we knew it was going to take a while. I think it was just kind of that impatient thing, like, come on, loofah, let's get some action going on here. But a lot of people asked if we're going to be showing how to harvest, how to create them into loofah. Yes, we will. It's still a long process. We're getting close to the end, but this thing still has a long ways to go before we're ready to actually start harvesting. You can eat these when they're small and they're young. A lot of people have mentioned that they're a lot like maybe a zucchini. So that's kind of cool. We're not eating these. Jen's actually making them into Christmas presents. So she's gonna actually make loofah that you would have in a bath to soap yourself up with or whatever, and kind of make like bathroom kits, I guess, for shower kits. For Christmas presents. So that's gonna be really cool. But we will take you all through that process and show you everything about it. All right, it's getting hot. Let's go see what Jen and the kiddos are up to today. Hey, what y'all doing?
We are playing Minecraft.
Playing a video game? I could have used y'all's help in the garden. What happened to you? Video games, gosh darn it, I tell you what. And at least it's only a little bit, right? This is video game time. You wanna tell them hi? You can't keep your kids away from technology all the time. You gotta give them a little fun, and they love playing that, and they play well together doing it, so it's a win. What you got going on over here?
Also because Mama had to do this.
Mama had to do this. Let me tell you right here. So what are you doing?
I'm preparing more cucumbers for pickles. Believe it or not, the cucumbers still have not quit. I mean, I don't know if they're gonna quit, honestly. They're going crazy, so we're just keep making pickles. So this round is gonna be bread and butter, which I have a video on, and pretty excited about them. And then I've also got some potatoes on the stove that are boiling, and some green beans that are ready to be packed into some jars because we're gonna can some more green beans and taters.
Wow.
And then later, we're gonna make pepper jelly and can that.
Oh, buddy. So I kind of wanted to show off some of the stuff that Jen's been doing, because almost in every video we talk about her canning and working, and she's usually got me in there with her. So here's some of our stuff. That's a bunch of the potatoes and green beans, regular green beans, tomato sauce, and she's got some cherry tomatoes over here dehydrating again. We've got almost a full quart of sun-dried or dehydrated cherry tomatoes, which is awesome. And then over here on this little shelf I threw together is where she's got her jalapeno candy and a bunch of butternut squash. She's also got some of her comfrey salve up here, butternut squash forever. She got some of that on the table too. Some more jalapeno candy or cowboy candy, whatever you call it. If you're starting to notice, we got stuff just kind of put everywhere. Over here is all of our corn. What's that? 3, 6, 9, 12, 15, 16, 17. 17 pints of corn. And then we got a freezer full of corn, which I'll give you a glimpse of how full that is too. Oh, also, we know that a lot of people, it seems like, are now taking off the rings after they get done. We've never done that in our 5 years. We've never, honestly, I don't even know if it's a new thing or what, but I haven't really heard of that ever in my life. So that's why we don't do it, just because we've never had a fall seal. We've never had any issues with our canning by leaving the rings on, so rings are staying for us. And then up over here on the shelf, we got spicy pickles, more spicy pickles, tomato sauce everywhere, and all of her dried herbs. We got just canned goods everywhere we can put them. Oh, and then you can't forget about the other stuff that also has to be done. The sink full of banana peppers and jalapenos, and looks like 3 random cucumbers over here, babe.
Yeah, they're for lunch.
Oh, those are for lunch. Gotcha. And then last but not least, the deep freeze. To the rim. It's one of those sideways, pretty good size one, but it's more your smaller one. We've definitely gonna have to upgrade soon. Now, my mom has one right down the hill that's a big stand-up one, which is where we're moving to next. But this has got zucchini bread galore, those Chinese red noodle beans, it's got zucchini, squash, corn on the cob, all kinds of stuff up in this deep freeze. Amazing. What you want to show them?
My dollhouse.
Oh, you want to show them one of your little doll houses? That's pretty cool. Mama got you that, didn't she?
Mm-hmm.
You love it?
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm. Okay, so what a video, right? You've learned how to properly water a garden. You got to see all the canning stuff that Jen's been doing. And you know, there's plenty more to go. Our cucumbers are doing amazing still. I don't know what we're doing right, or if it's just we picked the right variety, which is a Be It Alpha from Baker's Creek. But they're doing amazing. Those little mini white cucumbers from Baker's Creek too are awesome. We planted those maybe 2 months ago, and they are full and awesome. And we even put them in a pot. There's two plants in one pot and one plant in another, and they're going over pallet trellises. We'll show you all that in more detail tomorrow on the garden walk if you haven't caught them before. But there was one other thing I wanted to talk about with you all. So if you've made it this far into the video, I know this applies to you because you're someone that really likes them and you like watching us often, which we thank you all so much. So everybody has kind of like their squad name, right? So you have like the Cog Squad on Cog Hill Farms. Out of Goshen, they call them the Goshen Knights. So we have been kind of thinking, like, what can we call our followers that are like the dedicated followers that are watching us, and possibly have like a group page that we can kind of chat out and just kind of have some stuff, maybe make some t-shirts out of it. Just some cool stuff that we wanted you all to have a name for. So we had to have a not very rhyme ready last name, which is the name of our channel, Stivers. So we've been trying to think of some stuff of what could be a name that we could call our awesome group of people that are watching us right now. So when I was in high school, my nickname was actually Stivs or Stives. They kind of just shorted Stivers and made it Stivs or Stivers. So we did think of one, which we're not completely sold on, calling y'all our Stivesteaders or our Stivsteaders. I don't know about that. We liked it, but you get thinking about it and we don't know. So the reason I said for the ones that are still watching it here at the end of the video, I know you all are part of this group, so we want you all to help us come up with a name. Something cool, something short, sweet, rolls off the tongue nice, that you all would be awesome and proud to call yourselves, because we love you all. We want to like make y'all some shirts or whatever and just kind of have some stuff out for giveaways and different things like that. So y'all think about it, put them down in the comments what kind of a name that you can think of. And then if you can't think of a name, or if you have your own vote, go down there, like the comment that you like the name of the best, and we'll look at that and we'll see which one has the top votes, and we'll make that the winner. How about that? Does that sound like all right plan there? I think it'd be pretty cool. I just want to call y'all something, you know, besides our awesome people that we love. Just kind of a cool nickname. I like nicknames, all about them. So let's see what y'all got. Drop them in the comments. Everyone that's watching this video, go down into the comments and like your favorite one, and I think that'd be really cool. Okay, you got a little piece of everything. The biggest thing that I wanted with this video was just to kind of talk about my opinion and, you know, pretty good facts about when, how, do's and don'ts with watering, and really explaining hard versus soft water, because that's just something nobody ever talks about. And then of course, you know, because we kind of throw in vlog style with straight informative, you got to see the kids, you got to see the wife doing stuff, and then just knowing how much of a fun day we're about to have here on the homestead again. So I hope you all enjoyed this video. I love every single one we do and talking to you all. So right here is when I would add that nickname in and say bye y'all. So let's see that good names down there, and make sure to vote on your favorite, and we'll go from there. All right, y'all, enjoy today. We'll talk to you on the next one. Bye.